The chain around my sister's wheelchair wasn't there last night. But this morning, it gleamed in the sunlight, locked tight to the fence post. Her hands were shaking, her voice barely a whisper. They said it's HOA property now. I looked up and saw the HOA president smiling from across the street. And that's when I noticed the black SUV parked near our mailbox. Someone was watching everything. Hey everyone, welcome back to HOA Stories. I'm Jake. 38, single dad, and somehow the unofficial enemy of every HOA president in this town. I live in a quiet neighborhood outside Dallas, where the lawns are fake, the smiles are faker, and the HOA loves reminding us who's really in charge. If you've ever had an HOA nightmare, you're gonna want to stick around. And if you hate HOA power trips as much as I do, hit that subscribe button right now. Comment BOOO HOA if you've ever dealt with one of those rule-obsessed neighbors. Now, let me tell you what they did to my sister. And why that black SUV parked outside might have just saved her life. It started with a knock on my door. Soft at first, then louder. My sister's voice trembled through the crack. "Jake, come outside, please." When I stepped out, I froze. The morning light hit the driveway just right, bright and cruel. And there she was, sitting in her wheelchair, staring at the chain. A thick steel chain wrapped around her front wheel, padlocked tight to the post by the sidewalk. She couldn't move an inch. "What the hell is this?" I asked. She looked down, her hands trembling. They said, "I parked my wheelchair on community property again, so they're enforcing the rules." I blinked, thinking I misheard her. "Who said that?" "The HOA guy. Mr. Crenshaw, the one with the clipboard and the golf hat." I felt my chest tighten. That smug bastard had been bothering us for months. He didn't like that my sister's wheelchair ramp wasn't HOA approved. Or that our lawn wasn't up to community standards. But this was insane. I stormed down the driveway, across the street, straight toward his perfect green lawn. He was already outside, trimming his hedges with little scissors like he was snipping away at people's sanity. "You chained a disabled woman to a pole?" I shouted. He looked up, calm as ever. "It's not personal," he said, "it's policy. The sidewalk is owned by the HOA. She can park in her garage. My sister can't even fit her wheelchair through the garage." He shrugged. "Then she shouldn't live in a community with rules she can't follow." Something in me snapped right there. I took a step forward, but stopped when I heard a car door shut behind me. Across the street, near our mailbox, a black SUV was parked. Tinted windows. Unmarked plates. Someone inside was watching. Crenshaw noticed it too. He squinted, muttered something, then turned and walked back into his house. I looked back at my sister. Her eyes were glassy. She wasn't crying, just staring down at the chain like she couldn't believe it was real. I knelt beside her and tried to pull it off, but the lock wouldn't budge. Then, out of nowhere, a voice called out from across the street. "Don't cut it." A man in a gray hoodie stood by the SUV. He flashed something in his hand, a badge. FBI. For a second, my mind couldn't process what I was seeing. FBI? For an HOA dispute? He walked closer, calm, observant. "Mr. Thompson?" he asked. "Yeah. I'm Agent Ross. We've been monitoring this HOA for a while now. Please, don't remove that chain yet." I looked at him, confused. "You what?" He leaned in slightly. "Your HOA has been under investigation for multiple violations, intimidation, discrimination, extortion, and now, this." I felt my stomach drop. "The HOA? Under FBI watch?" He nodded toward the chain. "Everything they've done, we've been recording it. But this changes things." Behind us, curtains were moving in nearby houses. Neighbors watching. Phones recording. Suddenly everyone cared. My sister whispered, "Jake, please just take it off." But the agent shook his head. Not yet. We need to document this. It's evidence. I looked at my sister again. Tears finally streamed down her cheeks. And for the first time, I didn't know whether to feel angry or scared. The agent turned to me. I'll need a statement from both of you. And don't confront him again. Let us handle it. He handed me a card, then walked back to his SUV. The engine started, but he didn't leave. He just sat there, watching Crenshaw's house from behind tinted glass. That night, I barely slept. Every sound outside made me flinch. Headlights flickering through the blinds, footsteps on the pavement, the faint clink of metal chains in the wind. My sister couldn't sleep either. She kept replaying it in her head. What if they come back? She whispered. They won't, I told her. But I wasn't sure I believed it. Because that next morning, when I stepped outside, the chain was gone. No broken pieces. No lock. Just gone. And on the post where it had been tied, someone had left a note. It said, "You should have stayed quiet. So tell me, if this happened to your family, would you call the cops or the FBI? Backhand index pointing down comment what you'd do, because things only got darker from here." The note was written in thick black marker on HOA letterhead. No name. No signature. Just that single line. You should have stayed quiet. I stood there for a long time, just staring at it. The morning air felt colder than usual. And somewhere behind me, a lawnmower started up, like nothing was wrong in the world. But something was wrong. Very wrong. I went inside, quietly. My sister was at the table, sipping coffee with both hands, still shaken. She saw the paper in my hand. "What's that?" I hesitated, then placed it on the table in front of her. She read it, her lips pressed tight. For a second, I thought she'd scream. But instead, she whispered, "They're watching us, Jake." Her words hit harder than I expected. I grabbed my phone and called Agent Ross, the FBI guy. No answer. Straight to voicemail. I tried again, and again. Nothing. That SUV wasn't outside anymore either. I stepped out and looked down the street. The spot was empty. No car, no trace. Just the faint tire marks where he had parked the night before. For a moment, I wondered if I'd imagined all of it. But then, a car slowed down in front of our driveway. It was Mr. Crenshaw. HOA clipboard on his lap. A smug little smile under those cheap aviator sunglasses. He rolled down the window. "Good morning," he said. "Hope your sister's doing better." I clenched my jaw. What's this supposed to mean? I held up the note. He tilted his head. "Threats are against HOA policy," he said, almost laughing. "Maybe someone doesn't like rule breakers." Then he drove off. Slowly. Deliberately. My fist shook, but I couldn't move. It felt like he was daring me to react. That evening, I went through the HOA emails. All those reminder notices, violations, and warnings. But this time, I looked closer. Every message came from the same sender. info@opinaresidenceboard.com. Except one. Hidden deep in my inbox, dated 2 months earlier. A message with no subject line. The sender, ross.federal@nomail.gov. I opened it. And froze. It said, "If anything happens to your sister, don't contact local police. Wait for us. They're compromised." Compromised? I read it 3 times. Was he saying the police were in on it? I tried replying, but it bounced back, undeliverable. Like the account didn't exist anymore. That night, I couldn't stop pacing. I checked the front yard every 10 minutes. Closed the blinds. Locked the doors twice. Even unplugged the Wi-Fi router, I don't know why. It just felt safer somehow. My sister was asleep on the couch. a blanket pulled up to her chin. Her wheelchair beside her, no chain this time, thank God. Then I heard it. A sound outside. Not loud, but sharp. Click, click, click. Like metal tapping metal. I peeked through the blinds. Across the street, under the streetlight, someone stood next to the HOA mailbox cluster. A figure in dark clothes, hoodie pulled up. Hands moving fast, like they were attaching something to the pole. I grabbed my phone and zoomed in. Not a tag. Not a sticker. It was a small black box, blinking red. A camera. I ran outside, yelling, "Hey! What are you doing?" But by the time I crossed the street, the person was gone. No footsteps. No sound. Just a blinking red light in the dark. I ripped it off and brought it inside. My sister woke up when she heard me come back in. "What's that?" "A camera," I said. "Someone planted it near the mailbox." She stared at it like it was a bomb. And honestly, I didn't feel far off. I called the local police. They came 15 minutes later. 2 officers, one older, one new. They looked bored before I even explained what happened. The older one said, "Sir, you're saying your HOA put a spy camera in your mailbox?" "I'm saying someone did. And I'm telling you the FBI said not to trust." The younger cop interrupted, "Wait. FBI? You were in contact with them?" Something in his tone made my stomach twist. Too curious. Too interested. I lied. "No. It was just a prank call, I think." He nodded slowly. The older one shrugged. "Well, no proof of crime here. Just, don't touch HOA property again, okay?" "HOA property?" I said. "That's the public street." They didn't answer. Just walked away. And as their car drove off, I swear I saw one of them glance back, like they knew something I didn't. That night, my phone buzzed again. No caller ID. When I answered, silence. Then a low male voice. "You shouldn't have called them." I froze. "Who is this?" The voice continued. "You're not supposed to interfere. Just wait for instructions." "Agent Ross?" I asked. But the call ended. My heart was pounding. I checked the call log, number unknown. I tried calling back. No luck. My sister rolled over in her sleep. And I just sat there, in the dark, holding the phone to my ear, listening to the dial tone fade away. The next morning, the camera I'd taken off the mailbox was gone from the counter. No broken door. No sign of break-in. Just gone. And in its place was another note. Same black marker. Same paper. It said, "The HOA always knows." If that note showed up in your house, would you pack your bags and run, or stay to find out who's really watching? Backhand index pointing down, tell me in the comments what you'd do, because trust me, it's only getting worse. That note sat on my kitchen counter like it was alive. Just 6 words. But it felt like they were crawling under my skin. The HOA always knows. I didn't sleep that night. I couldn't. Every time I closed my eyes, I imagined cameras hidden in the walls. Microphones under the floor. Someone breathing on the other side of the window. I kept thinking about Agent Ross. His badge. His calm voice. And that email, "Don't call the police, they're compromised." Maybe he was right. Maybe the entire neighborhood was watching us. The next morning, I noticed something strange. All the HOA officers, Crenshaw and his crew, were gathered outside the clubhouse. Clipboards, walkie-talkies, printed maps of the street. They looked like they were planning something. So I did what any curious, slightly paranoid man would do. I got my sister safely inside, then went out for a walk. I circled the block, slow, pretending to check my phone. When I passed near the clubhouse, I overheard them talking. Crenshaw's voice was sharp. "No more mistakes," he said. "The board wants everything ready by Friday. We can't have any more complaints or attention." Another voice asked, "What about the guy across from lot 17? The one with the wheelchair ramp?" Crenshaw paused. "Handled," he said. "Let's move on." My blood ran cold. Lot 17 was me. They were planning something again. I turned to walk away but froze when I saw a reflection in the clubhouse window. Someone inside was recording me with their phone. They knew I was there. I pretended to tie my shoe, then hurried home. When I told my sister, she looked terrified. "Jake, what do they want from us?" I didn't know. But I was done sitting around. I opened my laptop, connected to a VPN, and started searching every HOA record I could find. Board members, property tax filings, budgets, anything. Most of it was normal. Until I found something called Community Compliance Fund. It wasn't listed in public reports. But I found a mention buried inside an internal PDF from last year's meeting minutes. The document said, "All violation fees are redirected to the Compliance Fund, as agreed by the Treasurer and Federal Oversight." Federal Oversight. My heart skipped. I clicked the link next to it, but it was password protected. So I tried something simple. Ross Federal 01. It opened. What I saw next didn't make sense. The Compliance Fund wasn't a community account. It was a transfer channel. Money going from the HOA to a private firm in Virginia. Monthly payments labeled Operations Support. The firm's name? Graywood Management Solutions. I Googled it. No website. No address. Just a line of text under an old business registration. Government Infrastructure Consultant, closed 2016. So why was my HOA paying a closed company every month? My phone buzzed again. Unknown number. I didn't even say hello this time. I just listened. A familiar voice came through. "Mr. Thompson. I told you not to dig." "Agent Ross?" Long pause. Then quietly. "This isn't just about your HOA anymore. They're using it." "Using it for what?" He didn't answer directly. "They'll try to make contact again. Act normal. Don't resist. We're moving in soon." Then he hung up. My heart was pounding. I didn't even know what moving in meant. I turned around and nearly jumped out of my skin. Through the kitchen window, I could see Crenshaw standing on the sidewalk. Just staring. No phone. No clipboard. Just staring right at me. I shut the curtains and locked every door again. That evening, a white envelope slid under my front door. No stamp. No handwriting on the outside. Inside were 3 printed photos. Keycap 1, my sister in her wheelchair, outside the grocery store. Keycap 2, me, talking on the phone at night. Keycap 3, Agent Ross, standing near his SUV. Someone was following all of us. The last photo had a red circle around his badge. And under it, handwritten in marker. "That's not his real name." I stared at the words until they blurred. Could it be true? Was Ross even FBI? I needed proof. So I drove to the local field office downtown. I waited an hour before anyone would even talk to me. Finally, a real FBI clerk came to the counter. I handed her the card Ross had given me. "Can you confirm if this agent works here?" She looked at it, frowned, typed something into her computer. "I'm sorry, sir," she said. "There's no Agent Ross listed in our system." My stomach dropped. She looked at me again, a little concerned. "Where did you get this?" I stuttered. "He came to my house. He said you were investigating our HOA." Her eyes narrowed. "We're not investigating any HOA in this district, sir. You might want to call local law enforcement." I walked out shaking. So who the hell was that man? By the time I got home, it was dark. The street was unusually quiet. No kids playing. No dogs barking. Just the faint hum of a streetlight. My sister was waiting on the porch. Her face pale. "Jake, there's a car parked behind the mailbox again." I turned my head slowly. Sure enough, another black SUV. Different plate, same model. Only this time, no one was inside. Just an envelope on the windshield. I picked it up. Inside was a flash drive. No label. No message. I plugged it into my laptop inside the house. There was only one file. A video. I clicked play. It showed Crenshaw's living room. The camera was hidden, maybe in a vent or smoke detector. He was sitting at a table, talking to someone off-screen. Then a voice said, "So the payment went through?" Crenshaw nodded. "Yes. The compliance fund covers everything. No one suspects a thing." Then the other person leaned into frame. It was Agent Ross. My blood ran cold. They were working together. I slammed the laptop shut. My sister looked at me, scared. "What did you see?" I couldn't even form words. All I could say was, "They're not watching us, they're working through us." If you found out the FBI agent was in on it with your HOA, would you go public or play along until you had proof? Backhand index pointing down comment what you'd do, because the next move I made changed everything. I didn't sleep that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Agent Ross sitting in Crenshaw's living room, laughing. The video on that flash drive kept replaying in my head. The handshake. The stack of cash. The line that ruined everything. The compliance fund covers everything. I wanted to destroy the laptop. But instead, I stared at the frozen image on the screen, trying to understand what it meant. If Ross wasn't FBI, then who was he working for? And why use our HOA as cover? My sister wheeled over quietly. She'd been listening to every breath I took. "Jake," she said softly, "are we in danger?" I looked at her and realized I didn't even know how to answer that anymore. But one thing was certain. I wasn't going to run this time. I opened the drawer under the TV stand and pulled out my old GoPro cameras. From when I used to film hiking trips before life got complicated. I still had 4 of them. Small, quiet, perfect for catching liars. I spent the next few hours setting them up. One facing the driveway. One near the mailbox. One inside the living room pointing at the window. And one in the hallway facing the front door. If they were watching us, I wanted to watch them back. When I finished, it was almost 3 a.m. The neighborhood was silent. The kind of silence that doesn't feel peaceful. It feels planned. I sat on the couch with my laptop open, refreshing the feed from the cameras every few seconds. Nothing. Then, around 3:47 a.m., something moved outside. A shadow, crossing the driveway. Slow. Careful. It stopped near my sister's ramp. I zoomed in on the camera feed. A man in dark clothes, hoodie pulled up, flashlight in hand. He knelt beside the ramp and started unscrewing something. My throat went dry. He wasn't stealing. He was installing something. I grabbed my phone, started recording my screen for proof, and quietly moved toward the door. But before I could open it, a sharp tap hit the glass window behind me. I froze. When I turned around, my sister was pointing toward the living room window. Someone else was there too. A second person, holding a camera, filming through our glass. I killed the lights instantly. The house fell into blackness. For 10 long seconds, we didn't move. Just breathing, listening. Then, as quickly as they appeared, the shadows vanished. By morning, There were footprints all over the porch, and tiny drill marks on the ramp bolts. I called the police again, even though I knew it was useless. They arrived 2 hours later. The same younger officer from before. He took one look at the porch, shrugged. Doesn't look like forced entry, sir. Probably just kids messing around. Kids don't use power drills at 3 a.m., I snapped. He smirked. Well, we'll file a report. But honestly, you might be overreacting. Then he leaned closer and lowered his voice. Maybe stop recording everything. HOA's already filed complaints about you creating tension. I felt my jaw clench. That's when I realized he wasn't there to help. He was there to warn me. When he left, I checked my cameras again. One of the feeds was dead. The mailbox cam. I went outside to check. It was gone. Mount ripped clean off. But something else caught my eye. On the side of the mailbox post, someone had etched a symbol with a knife. A triangle with a circle inside it. It looked like a logo, but not one I'd ever seen before. That's when my phone buzzed again. New email. No sender. Subject line, delete everything. The message was blank. Except for a single attachment, a photo. A photo of me. Sitting on the couch the night before. Taken through my living room window. That's when it hit me. They were inside my network. Watching the feeds I set up. They knew everything. My hand shook as I unplugged the router and smashed it with a hammer. The sound made my sister jump, but I didn't stop. When I finally sat down, breathing hard, she whispered, "Jake, maybe we should leave." I looked at her and nodded slowly. But deep down, I wasn't ready to walk away without proof. That evening, I went to the clubhouse. No one was there. The lights were off, the door unlocked. Inside, rows of filing cabinets, a printer, and a small metal safe. I checked the cabinets, mostly meeting notes, landscaping invoices, boring stuff. But the safe had a sticker on it. That same triangle with circle symbol. It wasn't HOA at all. It was something else. I took a photo and left before anyone saw me. When I got home, I uploaded it to a search database. Reverse image search pulled up one result. A private organization called Oak Shield Development Trust. Listed as a federal partner for data compliance programs. The same Virginia address as Graywood Management Solutions. It was all connected. My HOA wasn't a neighborhood committee anymore. It was a front. The compliance fund wasn't about lawn violations. It was about information, surveillance, behavioral tracking, citizen monitoring disguised as neighborhood rules. They'd built a spy network using HOAs as cover. And somehow, my sister and I had stumbled right into it. I sat there, staring at the screen, and realized exactly what I had to do. If they wanted to watch me, I'd give them something worth watching. That night, I turned one of my cameras toward the street. Pointed right at Crenshaw's house. Then I left a note taped to my window. Written in big black letters. Smile for the camera, HOA. If you discovered your HOA was part of a secret government spy network, would you expose them publicly, or play dumb and collect proof first? Backhand index pointing down comment what you'd do, because what happened the next night, no one could have prepared for. I didn't expect them to move so fast. After I taped that note, smile for the camera, HOA, I thought I'd scared them off for a while. But the truth is, I had just challenged them. And they were done hiding. By the next evening, everything started to feel off. Neighbors who usually waved just stared at me. Cars I'd never seen before were parked across the street, windows tinted so dark you couldn't see inside. Even the mailman seemed different. He skipped my box completely that morning. My sister noticed it too. "Jake," she said quietly, "you think they'll come inside?" I didn't answer. Because deep down, I already knew the answer. That night, I set up the cameras again, but this time I hid them better. One behind the curtain, one under the porch table, and one tiny one, my favorite, I placed inside the TV unit vent. Completely invisible. Then I waited. Hours went by. Nothing. Around 1:20 a.m., I started drifting off on the couch, laptop still open with all 4 feeds running side by side. The house was dark, quiet, except for the occasional hum of the fridge. Then, the back porch light flickered. For a second, I thought it was a power surge. But then the motion alert popped on my laptop screen. Cam 3, movement detected. The feed went grainy, then cleared. And there he was. A tall man in dark clothes, face covered, slowly prying open the back door with a crowbar. I froze. My heart started racing so fast it hurt. He wasn't trying to be quiet. He knew no one would come. I whispered to my sister, "Stay in your room. Lock the door." She didn't argue. Just rolled herself quietly down the hall. I grabbed the baseball bat I kept near the stairs and crouched behind the kitchen counter. The sound of the lock snapping echoed through the house. The door creaked open. Cold air rushed in. Footsteps. Heavy, slow. He walked straight into the living room, toward the TV cabinet. Not looking around, not searching. Like he knew exactly where to go. That's when I realized something terrifying. He wasn't here to steal anything. He was here to take something back. I hit record on my phone screen and peeked over the counter. He kneeled down, reached behind the TV unit vent. Right where I'd hidden my smallest camera. My stomach dropped. How did he know? Before I could move, my phone buzzed, a new message. No number. Just words. Behind you. I turned around so fast I nearly slipped. Another man, this one wearing a black baseball cap, stood at the back hallway door. He wasn't holding a weapon, but his stance said everything. I lifted the bat anyway. "Get out of my house," I said, trying to sound braver than I felt. He didn't move. Just smiled. Then the first guy's voice came from behind me. Calm. Controlled. "Mr. Heller, we just need what you took." My throat went dry. "What are you talking about?" "The footage," he said. "The flash drive. You have something that doesn't belong to you." I wanted to laugh. "You broke into my house for that?" He stepped closer. "That's not just your HOA, Mr. Heller. That's national property." "National property?" I repeated. "You're not law enforcement." He smiled, just a little. "Not anymore." And then he reached into his jacket and pulled out a badge. It looked real, with government seal and all, but the lettering wasn't anything I'd ever seen. It said OSDT. Oak Shield Development Trust. He saw the recognition on my face. "You shouldn't have looked that up," he said. "Now you're in the system." Something inside me snapped. I swung the bat. He dodged easily, but it bought me a second. I grabbed the nearest thing I could, the old camera flash drive, and threw it straight into the kitchen sink. Then I turned the faucet on full blast. "You want it?" I shouted. "Go get it." He lunged for me. We hit the floor, the bat clattering away. For a moment, everything blurred, fists, shouting, water splashing. Then, red and blue lights flashed through the window. Sirens. They froze. The second man shouted, "Abort," and ran toward the back door. The one on top of me glared down for a split second, then bolted after him. By the time I got to the window, they were gone. Just 2 dark SUVs speeding off into the night. The cops arrived minutes later. But the second I opened the door, I knew it was useless again, because the same officer as before was there. He looked at the broken lock, the mess, the running sink. Then at me. "What happened here, Mr. Heller?" I handed him the broken vent piece with the missing camera. "They came for this," I said. "They knew exactly where it was." They said they were from Oak Shield. His expression didn't change. But when I mentioned Oak Shield, he stopped writing. Then, quietly, he said, "Mr. Heller, I think you should stop talking about that name." "What? Why?" He just sighed. "Because some things aren't meant to be on record." Then he turned and left. No report. No follow-up. Just gone. I locked every door, sat back down, and checked the remaining cameras. To my surprise, one was still working. The porch cam. It had captured everything. Both men entering, the fight, even the part where I threw the drive in the sink. Clear as day. But what I noticed next chilled me more than anything. When the second man yelled abort, the SUV lights that flashed outside weren't from police cars. They were already waiting out there. Meaning, the whole thing was coordinated. Even the sirens. Even the officer. It wasn't a rescue. It was cleanup. I backed up the footage onto a new flash drive, labeled it proof, and hid it behind the wall vent in my sister's room. Then I sat down beside her bed. She looked at me with scared, tired eyes. "Jake," she whispered, "how much do they know?" I looked at the floor. Everything. She was silent for a moment. Then she said something I didn't expect. "Then maybe it's time they see everything too." She was right. If they wanted to monitor us, I'd give them what they feared most, exposure. I opened my laptop, uploaded the footage to 3 separate anonymous drives, and sent them all to different online news outlets. It took about 15 minutes. By the time I hit send on the last one, the power in the house went out. Complete black. And somewhere outside, I heard the sound of boots on gravel. They were back. If your power went out right after exposing a secret organization, would you hide or go live and tell the world what you found? Backhand index pointing down, comment your answer, because what happens next changes everything. The house went completely silent. No hum of the fridge. No clock ticking. No lights. Just darkness, thick and heavy, like the air itself had stopped moving. My sister whispered from her room, "Jake, is it them?" I didn't answer. Because I already knew it was. The power didn't just go out. It was cut. Outside, I could still see faint flashes of movement, silhouettes crossing the driveway. Boots crunching gravel. A flashlight beam sliding across the curtains. They were back. I crouched near the window and peeked through the blinds. 3 men this time. All wearing dark tactical gear. And one of them had that same Oak Shield insignia on his arm. They weren't burglars. They were organized. Trained. And this time, they weren't here to steal anything. They were here to erase everything. I whispered through the dark, "Emma, we're leaving. Now." She rolled toward me, her wheelchair squeaking softly. "Jake, we can't go through the front. They'll see us." She was right. The front door was suicide. I remembered the small storm cellar under the kitchen, old wooden stairs leading to the backyard through a hatch. Almost no one even knew it existed. I grabbed a flashlight from the counter drawer, took her hand, and said, "Stay quiet. Follow my voice." We moved slow. Every creak of the floor felt like thunder in that silence. Halfway through the kitchen, I froze. Someone was trying to force the back door again. Metal on metal. Low murmurs. A radio crackle. "Copy that, Unit 2, target is still inside." I turned the flashlight off. We were running out of time. I pulled the carpet near the pantry aside, revealing the hidden hatch. Dusty, old, but still usable. "Go," I whispered. Emma hesitated. "Jake." "Go." She slid herself off the chair, crawled down first, and I lowered the wheelchair behind her. Then I climbed down, shut the hatch, and pulled the rug back over it. We were in complete darkness again. The smell of dirt and rust filled the air. I could hear them upstairs now. Boots pounding. Drawers opening. Voices echoing through the vents. Flash drives. Check every wall. My pulse pounded in my ears. Every word echoed like a hammer. Emma whispered, "Jake, what do we do?" I tried to stay calm. "We wait, and we listen." Through the thin floorboards, I heard one of them talking on a radio. "She's not here." "The chair's empty." "Copy that." "Move to the sister's room." "Check the vent." My chest tightened. They knew. They were going straight for it, the hiding spot. I reached for Emma's hand. She was shaking. Then suddenly, we heard something unexpected, a loud honk, followed by car doors slamming. Voices outside. Flashlights. Then, yelling. FBI. Hands where I can see them. My sister's eyes widened. She mouthed the word, FBI? We stayed perfectly still. Above us was chaos. Running, shouting, wood cracking. Someone fell hard, right above our heads. Then, gunshots. Short bursts. Then silence again. I didn't know what was happening. Whether to move or stay hidden. Then, a heavy knock on the kitchen floor. 3 slow thuds. A man's voice. Calm. Steady. Jake Heller. Emma Heller. You can come out now. I froze. Who are you? I shouted back. He replied, Special Agent Rhodes. FBI. We've been monitoring Oak Shield for months. You just helped us find them. Emma looked at me, tears welling in her eyes. Jake, it's real. They were really watching. I didn't waste a second. We pushed the hatch open. Light flooded in, harsh, bright flashlight beams hitting my face. 3 men stood there, dressed in FBI tactical vests. The one in front, Agent Rhodes, looked like he hadn't slept in weeks, eyes red, jaw tense. He reached out his hand. You did good, son. We got most of them. I climbed up first, then helped Emma. The kitchen was destroyed. Drawers ripped open, furniture flipped, windows shattered. 2 Oak Shield operatives lay handcuffed on the floor, blood on their sleeves. Rhodes turned to one of his agents. Get these 2 to safety. They're witnesses now. I stared at him. Witnesses to what? He hesitated. Then said quietly. To something that was never supposed to exist. He pointed at one of the unconscious men. Those aren't HOA officers. They're contractors. Oak Shield was a front for a surveillance program started years ago under the guise of neighborhood security. They embedded themselves into HOAs nationwide. Cameras, sensors, property reports, all used to track citizens without warrants. I couldn't believe it. All this time, you knew? He nodded. We were building a case. But we didn't have evidence. Until your footage showed up on our servers tonight. Emma smiled faintly. So, our house just exposed them? Yeah, Rhodes said. You just blew their whole operation wide open. For a moment, everything felt surreal. The flashing lights outside. The sound of agents talking on radios. The cold air seeping through the broken windows. Then I looked at Emma, tired, pale, but finally safe. And for the first time in weeks, I exhaled. Rhodes turned back to me. One thing, Jake. You said you uploaded 3 copies of the footage, right? Yeah. To 3 different outlets. He frowned slightly. 2 of them went offline an hour ago. Only one is still active. What? Why? We think someone on the inside is trying to clean up the mess. I felt that cold wave return. So, it's not over. He met my eyes. Not yet. But you and your sister, you did more than most agents ever could. Then he handed me a small card. It had just one word on it. Watcher. What's this? I asked. He smiled slightly. That's the code name for whoever helped us locate you. The one who sent your footage directly to our encrypted line. Someone sent it for me? He nodded. Before your house even went dark. Emma looked at me, confused. Jake, you didn't send it yet? I shook my head. No. I didn't even hit upload until I stopped. Because it hit me. That message. The one during the break-in. Behind you. It wasn't from them. It was from him. The Watcher. Later that night, the FBI escorted us out of the neighborhood. They told me Oak Shield's local office had been raided. Dozens of arrests. Hard drive seized. But their network stretched far beyond our town. As we drove away, I looked back at our house, dark, quiet, ordinary. It almost looked peaceful again. But I knew better. Peace in an HOA neighborhood is just another illusion. If someone secretly saved your life, but you never found out who they were, would you hunt them down to thank them, or stay hidden and hope they never find you first? Backhand index pointing down, comment your answer, because the truth about the Watcher is coming next. 3 weeks. That's how long it took for things to feel normal again. The FBI moved us to a small rental house a few miles out of town. Quiet street. Different HOA. Same perfect lawns. Emma's new wheelchair ramp had a little squeak in it. She said it made her feel safe, like the sound reminded her we were still free. But freedom didn't last long. Every night, around 2 a.m., my phone vibrated once. No number. Just a message. Keep watching. No threats. No demands. Just that. At first I thought it was spam. Then one night, a photo came through. Our old house. The porch light on. And someone standing right where the FBI van had parked the night they rescued us. The message said, "You left something behind." My chest tightened. I knew I shouldn't respond. But curiosity is poison. So I typed back, "Who are you?" The reply came instantly. "You already know." That's when I realized the FBI never found the Watcher. Maybe they didn't even try. I went back through everything, the old drives, the footage, the backups. Most of the files were corrupted now, scrambled with static. Except one. A short clip labeled CAM0, something I never recorded. I hit play. The camera angle was strange, above eye level, maybe from a drone. It showed me and Emma leaving the house with Agent Rhodes that night. Then it zoomed in. Right past us. To the dark SUV at the end of the street. Inside, a figure watched, wearing the same Oak Shield badge, crossed out with red tape. The file ended with a single frame. Text burned across it. The HOA isn't gone. The next morning, I took the drive straight to Agent Rhodes. He looked older, maybe from the stress. When he saw the footage, he sighed. "Where did you get this?" "It just showed up." He leaned back, rubbed his temples. "Jake, Oak Shield wasn't one group. It was a web. Some branches were private contractors, some were federal. Half of them don't even know who they work for." "So what now?" I asked. "Do you go after them?" He hesitated. Then said something that chilled me. "We're not sure we can. There's an oversight committee buried under housing policy that funds these programs. Officially, it's all neighborhood safety research." Emma frowned. "So you're saying the HOA is the government?" Rhodes didn't answer. That night, I couldn't sleep. The wind outside made the trees scrape against the siding, like fingers on glass. I sat by the window, laptop open, scrolling through local HOA forums, trying to see if anyone else had mentioned Oak Shield or strange inspections. And there it was. A post from a user named Neighborhood I. Timestamp, 2 minutes ago. Does anyone know why our HOA meetings are now hosted by a man named Rhodes? I stared at it. Refreshed the page. The post vanished. The next day, Rhodes didn't show up for his debrief call. FBI office said he was on leave. No explanation. By evening, another text came through. He was never FBI. I nearly dropped the phone. I ran to Emma's room. She was awake, scrolling through her tablet. Before I could speak, she said quietly, "Jake, you're not going to believe this." She turned the screen toward me. A news headline glowed across it. Local HOA appoints new security director, Agent Mark Rhodes. Same photo. Same man. Smiling under an HOA banner. I felt my stomach twist. They took him, I said. Or he was one of them all along. Emma looked terrified. So, what do we do now? I stared at the phone again. The last message still open. Then another bubble appeared. Time to finish what you started. Attached, GPS coordinates. Our old neighborhood. We shouldn't have gone. But we did. Just before midnight, I parked 2 blocks away. The streets were empty, perfectly trimmed, perfectly silent. The kind of silence that hides things. We moved quietly through the yards, past those same houses that once felt like home. At the end of the cul-de-sac, the HOA office light was on. Inside, rows of monitors, files, boxes. And in the center of the room, a laptop. Its screen showed multiple live feeds, every house on that street. Including ours. Emma gasped. They're still watching everyone. I stepped closer. On one of the feeds, a live image of us. Standing right there in the office. Then a voice came from the doorway behind us. Low. Calm. Familiar. Welcome back, Mr. Heller. Rhodes. He wasn't wearing an FBI vest anymore. Just a suit. No badge. Only an HOA pin on his lapel. I clenched my fists. Why? After everything? He smiled faintly. Because surveillance is order, Jake. And order keeps neighborhoods clean. You call chaining a disabled woman order? I shouted. His eyes narrowed. You were never supposed to see that. The program failed because of you. Emma whispered, You mean because we fought back? He looked at her, then at me. Do you really think you've won? Every HOA in the country uses our software now. Every mailbox camera, every pool gate sensor, ours. He reached for the laptop. But before he could touch it, another screen flickered on. A distorted voice came through the speakers. Nice to see you again, Rhodes. The screens filled with code, file names, IPs, security logs. Everything began uploading to the cloud. Rhodes slammed the keyboard. Who is this? The voice chuckled. You called me the Watcher. But I'm just one of many. The upload bar hit 100%. Every screen went black. Then one line of text appeared. Neighborhoods should belong to the people, not the Watchers. Rhodes cursed, grabbed a gun from the drawer, but when he looked up, the laptop burst into sparks. The entire system fried. Sirens wailed in the distance. Real ones this time. I grabbed Emma's hand. Let's go. We ran out through the back door as red and blue lights flooded the street. By the time the agents entered the office, Rhodes was gone. That was 6 months ago. The story made headlines for a week. Then disappeared, like it never happened. No mention of Oak Shield. No mention of Rhodes. Just a quiet return to normal. But sometimes, late at night, I still get that single text. Keep watching. Only now, it feels different. Not a warning. A reminder. Because maybe the Watcher isn't a person. Maybe it's an idea that someone has to keep an eye on those who claim to protect us. And if that's true, then maybe, after everything, we're the Watchers now. If you found out your own HOA was secretly watching every home on your street, Would you expose them or disappear before they found you first? Backhand index pointing down. Drop your thoughts below, and remember, always keep watching.